Look at this information. In the diagram below, P, -6 and 8 is a point in the Cartesian plane. A is a point on the positive x-axis. Angle AOP is equal to theta. Okay, so they told us that this is equal to theta. Okay, and we're told that P is a point on the Cartesian plane, which is this point over here, and A is a point on the positive x-axis, so which is true. And then we're asked to determine with the aid of a diagram the value of the following, the length of OP. So this is OP over here for 2 marks. So we have this x value and this y value. And when looking at OP, so x is this direction and then y is this direction. So over here it's 8, over here it's -6. We are looking for OP, and OP is the hypotenuse. Okay, so we're going to use the Pythagoras theorem. So it's x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. X is -6 all squared plus y is 8 all squared is equal to r squared. -6 all squared, that is positive 36, plus 8 squared, that is 64, is equal to r squared. And then 36 plus 64, that should give you 100, is equal to r squared. And then from there you find the square roots of both sides. 10 is equal to r. So the length of OP is 10 units. Okay, so now asked to find the value of sine theta plus cos theta. So remember we said our y value was 8, our x value is -6, and we found OP to be 10. So sine theta, remember sine from our soccer tour, sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, and then cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So this is the 90 over here. Now this angle AOP is in its larger form. If you reduce it to a smaller angle, it should lie inside here. So this theta is supposed to be in here. When you reduce it, you can see that this is a larger form of this angle, but when it's reduced, it's actually inside of this triangle over here. So it's theta here. Now sine theta, we said it's opposite over hypotenuse, which means sine theta, so opposite to theta, we have 8 as our numerator, and the hypotenuse is positive 10, plus adjacent to theta, we have -6, and the hypotenuse is 10. Now you can see the denominators are the same, so you can then say 8 minus 6 divided by 10. 8 minus 6, that is 2 divided by 10, and in its simplest form, it's simply 1 over 5. So if sine 25 is equal to 1 over k, we should determine the value of tan 25 degrees in terms of k for 3 marks. So we're going to need to take 2 things into consideration: our trig ratios, and we need a special triangle. So sine, remember sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, and then tan is opposite over adjacent. So we need a special triangle, so let's draw a triangle over here. So we have 25 degrees, we have 90, and we are told that sine 25 is 1 over k. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so opposite to 25 we have 1, and the hypotenuse, which is on the denominator, it's k. So our hypotenuse is this side, so it's k. Let's find the length of this side, because this is the remaining side. So let's just name this x. So we're finding the value of x. So it's x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. We only have to, the only way you can do it is using the Pythagoras theorem. So x squared, our y is 1 all squared, and then our r is k all squared. X squared plus 1 is equal to k squared. X squared is equal to k squared minus 1. But remember, we're looking for x, not x squared, so we're going to introduce the square root on both sides. So x is equal to the square root of k squared minus 1. And then you are done. So you go over there and you introduce or apply this value k squared minus 1. Now we're closer to answering the question. So 10, 25 is what we're looking for in terms of k. And 10, remember we said it's opposites over adjacent. So opposite to 25, okay, so 10, 25 is equal to, opposite to 25 we have 1. And then adjacent to 25, it's the square root of k squared minus 1. So you've answered the question, and then you are done. So let's simplify fully without using a calculator for 7 marks. Sine 698 degrees times cos 300 degrees, all of that divided by tan 135 degrees times cos of negative 248 degrees. Okay, so don't be scared of the 7 marks. Just simplify each thing step by step. Okay, so my advice to you is whenever you're given an angle which is above 360 degrees, you should subtract 360. Okay, whenever you're given an angle which is above 360, you should subtract 360 degrees. Okay, now let's simplify that. So cos, that is the same as cos of 360 minus 60. Because remember, we are trying to solve this without using a calculator. Okay, all of that divided by 10. Tan 135 is the same as saying tan of 180 minus 45. The reason why we're doing all of this is because we're trying to find each of these large angles in its simplest form. And then from there, it's going to be easier for us to solve this. Now here we have a negative angle. Whenever you're given a negative angle, you should add 360 degrees. So it's actually the opposite of that. If it's above 360, subtract 360. If it's negative, you add 360. So plus 360 degrees. Okay, so this will reduce to sine of 338 times 360 minus 60. When we look at our Cartesian plane, we have all trig ratios positive in the first quadrant, sine is positive in the second quadrant, tan is positive in the third quadrant, and then cos is positive in the fourth quadrant. So it's 0, 90, 180, 270, and then back to 360. Now 360 minus 60, 360, you subtract 360 degrees, you land in the fourth quadrant, and cos is positive there. So it's going to be a positive cos 60 degrees. All of that divided by tan of 180 minus 45. So 180 is over here. Subtract 45 degrees, you land in the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, only tan is positive in the second quadrant. Sorry, only sine is positive in the second quadrant. Over here we're given 10, so it's going to be negative 10 45 degrees times, this would be cos of 112 degrees. Okay, now let's make things even simpler from here. We can then say sine of 338 in its simplest form is the same as saying sine of 360 degrees minus 22 multiplied by this cos 60. So 60 is actually a special angle. 45 degrees is also a special angle. But let's not solve it just yet. Let's just leave it as it is for now. So cos 60, and then all of that is divided by negative 10. 45 is also a special angle, but let's leave it like that for now. Cos 112 is the same cos of 90 plus 22 degrees. Okay, 360 minus 22, 360 subtract 22 degrees, you land in the fourth quadrant. Only cos is positive there. We have sine here, so it's going to be a negative sine 22 degrees multiplied by cos 60. So we're going to use something which is called a special triangle. So we have two special triangles. One says 90, 60, 30. Okay, the square roots of 3, 1 and 2. The other one, you should try to know this by heart, guys. So try to learn these two special triangles. So the other one says 45, 45, 90, 1, 1, square root of 2. So cos, remember we said cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent to 60 we have 1, and the hypotenuse is 2. All of that divided by negative 10 45. Okay, 45 is 10 is opposite over adjacent, so opposite to 45 we have 1, and adjacent to 45 we also have 1. But remember there's a negative 1 outside, so it's negative 1 multiplied by 1 over 1. And then cos of 90 plus 22, so 90 plus 22 degrees, you land in the second quadrant. And only sine is positive in the second quadrant, so we have cos over here. So it's going to be a positive trig ratio. But now remember, if you are given 90 or 270, this changes the trig ratio from cos to sine. So it's going to be a negative sine 22 degrees. Now we have negative sine 22 on the numerator, negative sine 22 on the denominator. So these two are going to cancel each other out, and then you're going to be left with 1 over 2 divided by negative 1. Because negative 1 times 1 over 1, that's simply negative 1. And then 1 over 2 divided by negative 1, that is negative 1 over 2. So you've done this question for 7 full marks. Not that difficult.